Hello everyone, welcome to this edition of The Inside. I am Bable Jonathan. Human rights defenders, civil society and political leaders in the Republic of Cameroon have been lambasting the senior division officer of the Fundi division of an administrative order considered as a gross violation of human rights, national and international laws duly signed and ratified by Cameroon, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, and even the Constitution of the Republic. The senior divisional officer of the Fundi division, Emmanuel Mariel Njikdeng, took an administrative order in which he says that all persons who will orchestrate rebellion against state institutions and officials will be expelled from this area of command. The Fundi division, this is considered as a gross violation of human rights, notably the right to movement and freedom of expression, and our guest sees in this decision a threat to national unity. In the meantime, the Minister of Communication and Government spokesperson Rene Emmanuel Sadi has also said that it is unacceptable for anyone to use unrespectful, insultive and offensive remarks against state institutions and officials. In a press release, he called for restraint and a sense of responsibility in the exercise of the legitimate right to freedom in a bid to avoid excesses, outrage and violation of fundamental social values and basic standards of democracy. This statement released by the Minister of Communication and Government spokesperson Rene Emmanuel Sadi is considered as a correction to the senior divisional officer of the Fundi division on grounds that the minister is very respectful in the way he spoke and of course respecting all the rules and regulations, notably talking about democratic principles and of course societal rules governing the country. And of course we are looking at this in this edition of The Insight. Meet our guest in some few seconds. Our guest today is Professor Pierre Milla, ASSOUTE, Cameroonian politician, president of the Democratic Movement for Modern Cameroon, and an opponent of the Paul Biya regime, former member of the Central Committee of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party, and former member of parliament, one-time youngest parliamentarian in Cameroon. He is the paramount chief of Mbo Sanzo in Sancho in the Menua Division West region of the country. Professor, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babila. Thank you for inviting me in this program. I take the opportunity to afternoon to all youths of Cameroon, and especially to women that are the most important value of our nations.
Right. You have been on exile in France. Right now you're joining us from Nairobi in Kenya, but you have been on exile in France for over 20 years. What forced you out of Cameroon?
Yes, I left Cameroon in 2024, end of 2024, to France after creating a modern wing within the CPDM that I was a member. After trying a lot with many members of Central Committee to evaluate the promises of CPDM to the people of Cameroon from 1985 in Bamenda till date, I faced serious challenge, many challenges from inside the CPDM. My life was threatened. Everybody knows that they shot on me with guns at my residence at Golf in Yaoundé. So to protect my life at that moment, I had to leave the country and went to Paris. That was my choice, to go to Paris. And from Paris, I started organizing again the party. I tried to run for election in 2011. Everybody knows that my candidature again after 2024, after 2004 was rejected again in 2011. So in 2018, I made a stop to see how things are going. So that's why I am in exile. But during all this time, I decided to go and get an experience of African policy, especially in Nairobi, in Kenya, because our country is bilingual. We have Anglophone in Cameroon. I wanted to know more closer how Kenya is dealing with common law, with Anglophone system. So that's why I'm between Paris and...
Being on exile for this number of years, away from your home country, unable to come back.
Yeah, nobody leave his country by choice. We always leave our country because we don't feel very good there, especially when it concerns opinion and your life is under threat. You have to go. It's not easy to be in exile, but I think it was a good experience for me. Even if I'm paying a huge price, I can even say it's a maximum price for anybody to pay. I never bury my mother, I never bury my sister, I never bury my family for all these last 20 years. But I'm preparing myself to be in Cameroon before end of this year, meaning that I want to be in Cameroon by beginning of December 2024, to be on the ground and to be one of the witnesses and maybe one of the actors of changes that Cameroonians are expecting since some time. Due to the situation that all of us knows, actually in Cameroon, people are suffering. Many people are going through lack of electricity, lack of water in the capital city of our country. Everybody knows that embezzlement is the best spot of Cameroonian actually. So I want to be back and bring my own expertise and experiences that I accumulated during this exile time, 20 years in Europe, in Africa, like Kenya. I'm experiencing the democracy in Kenya, the freedom in Kenya, the liberty. So with all this, maybe it can be something new value to bring back home among people who are fighting for freedom and liberty and democracy. That is what I can tell you. It's not easy to be abroad for 20 years, but when you have resilience, determination, conviction in idea, you don't feel it like a prison. Yes, it's a prison, but if you are really convinced of what you are doing for your people, what your people need, what young men need in your country, what old men need in your country, what your country is itself need to upgrade its standard of life and its international standard of a vision, then you do it with a lot of pride. That is what I'm doing.
Now, if you're preparing to come back, should we assume that the danger has been taken away?
Sorry, can you come again?
You're preparing to come back home. Does that mean the danger has been taken away?
I'm preparing to go back home because I think I am more ready now to defend myself against any kind of threat. Also because after 20 years, even the President of the Republic after 20 years knows that he's not the man of 70 years back. Now himself is more than 90 years old. So even me, I'm not the guy that went in exile when I was 40 years. So I am ready to face whatever I will find on the ground, including all kind of threat. The threat we can see, we can hear it from here. When we are hearing what somebody like the SG of Yaoundé is writing, decree that is signing, we know that the street is still there. But I think it's time to go now at my age and face whatever truth it is for my conviction and for my people. So I'm ready. I'm coming back.
Right, we're going to talk a little more about the breakup with your former political party, the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party, later in the program. Now, you were talking about the administrative order of the senior divisional officer of the Fundi division, Emmanuel Mariel Njigdeng, in which he says that anyone who will orchestrate rebellion against state institutions and officials will be expelled from his area of command. That is the Fundi division, the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. And you said in an open letter to the Minister of Territorial Administration, that the decision of the SDO of the senior division officer is a threat to national unity. Tell us more about that.
It's a real menace on the national unity. Cameroon is a united country in a several ways. Unity of its tribes and ethnic groups, unity of its former federation between a former Federal Republic of Western Cameroon and one of Eastern Cameroon. So those type of unity that is the aim of the founding fathers of our country. And even the Palace of Cameroon is called Palais de l'Unité, Palace of Unity. I mean that unity in our country is something very important. Maybe it's even the base of that country. Somebody cannot just wake up in the morning and start signing decree saying that the capital city of that country, Cameroonian cannot come there without his permission. It's a violation of preamble of our constitution, and it is not acceptable. It's a threat. It's a kind of menace on people of Cameroon to be coming to their capital city. So we don't understand why somebody will say something like that. Where is he getting power to violate Constitution of Cameroon? Where is he getting it from? In that country, the only person who took an oath to protect the Constitution and the unity of that country is the President of the Republic. So there is no way that senior divisional officer can come out and sign a decree telling Cameroonian that before anybody can come to Yaoundé, he needs a visa, permit from him to come to Yaoundé. And based on crime that nobody committed, based on crime that it's saying people have intention to do. The senior divisional officer is not a judge to qualify crimes that people have intention to do. We have a penal code in our country that punish anybody, any Cameroonian. All of us are equal in front of the law. The penal code punish anybody who committed crime in the country, in the territory, national territory of our country. The penal code is not punishing anybody that have intention. How do you even discover the intention of people? By doing surgery in their brain to know what their brain is hiding? So this decision is a very wrong decision, and they have to remove it. Because what that decision is telling Cameroonian is that if you are not from Fundi, autochthone from Fundi, native of Fundi, you cannot come to Yaoundé. But even if we took it that way, what will the SDU of the Fundi do to a native of Fundi who carry the same intention? So it will take him away from his home and send him where? So he's telling people from Bamenda, people from Boya, people from Bafoussam or Garoua, Maroua, Douala, you can be doing you are terrorism there. As far as we are quiet here in Yaoundé, you can carry it out there, but leave us alone here. It's not something acceptable.
All right, but Prof,
it doesn't make any sense.
The senior divisional officer did not actually put it that way, that Yaoundé or the Mfundi division is only for people from that part of the country, or that those who are coming to Yaoundé should seek any permission. He simply said that if someone orchestrates, if someone incites rebellion, protests, or speaks in a way that will move people to rebel against state institutions and officials, those persons will be expelled from Yaoundé. And now, the issue is the fact that he takes upon himself to say that people will be sent out of Yaoundé. That is where there's a problem. But now, another side of the issue is, of course, the intention, because this is what he explains. This is what militants, officials of the CPDM are saying, that the intention is to ensure that there is public order and peace in the Mfundi division, which is the responsibility of the senior divisional officer and other senior divisional officers in the other divisions.
My friend, let me tell this SDO two things. Number one, how does he identify clearly intention of people? I ask again, by opening their brain through surgery to discover their intention, or opening their heart through surgery to know what people that are walking on the streets are thinking? So it's just funny. But now, let us agree that the SDO of Fundi want to protect this division against any kind of terrorism, any kind of, and so on, according to the qualification that we can see in that his decree. Let's say that the intention is good. He want to protect the division of Fundi. I want to tell him this. All oppressors in this world, even the slaves, have break their chain against the people who chained them. How can you tell people that they cannot protest? How can you tell people in democracy country that they cannot demonstrate? So there is no way that somebody would sit in his office with a pen, threatening people of Cameroon by, you cannot come here because you might get an intention to rebel, you might get an intention to do terrorism. What is it doing? What it's doing is terrorism. It's terrorizing Cameroonian by, you cannot come here if you don't have clean intention, that I will scrutinize before accepting you in this place. Then I ask again, why if Betty guys, which is living there and born in Yaoundé, carry the same intention, how will he be punished? How will that guy be punished? So the only way to punish any Cameroonian who have committed a crime in the soil of Cameroon is to take him to court. Not to prejudge of what his intention is. Not to prejudge that he might commit. We call that arbitrary decisions. An arbitrary decision creates frustrations. So when a government, when a regime starts implementing law of oppression, when a regime starts implementing law of threatening people, the only thing that they will face next is that they are bringing democracy on the streets. And they will face exactly what they are trying to protect, because it is in the Universal Charter of UN and everywhere. If people feel oppressed, abused by authority, if people feel threatened by any kind of abuse of power, then their right of revolution, their right of insurrections, it become their priority. So if you don't want people to go to the street, then use power according to the law, according to the constitution. That is not what they are doing. They are threatening opposition. They are threatening Cameroonians that does not think exactly like they want. That is not democracy, and it is not acceptable. There is not in our country people who own that country and are telling others, category of citizens, that, this is how you have to behave. If you don't behave like this, you cannot come here and you cannot go there. That will never happen. And they will never shut down anybody in the opposition to carry on critics in what they are doing wrong.
No,
anything that they are doing wrong, it will be criticized.
Right, Prof.
They will not stop people criticizing embezzlement, knowing that what are Cameroonians saying which is fake, which is wrong, which is lie. They are not saying anything which is lie. They want to shut down any voice that knows what they are doing wrong. And that is why your colleague, one of your colleagues, was killed just because he was doing exactly what you are doing, the job, to say what he's saying. That guy was killed in a terrorist way that nobody can describe. Which kind of terrorism is Mr. SDO talking about? Where were him about terrorism when they killed this guy, Zogo? He was not there. What have you done about that terrorism who killed Zogo? Which terrorism is above that one, killing journalists? So, he will not afraid anybody. Cameroonian will keep talking. Cameroonian will keep complaining in Bamenda, in Boya, in Douala, in Garwa, in Marwa. If the rule of law, if the governance of Cameroon is not carrying well according to the constitution of our country, if democracy is not well organized according to the rule of democracy.
All right,
Which country
Professor, let's
they change agenda of election without anybody saying anything.
All right,
They
Professor,
change
you wrote
agenda
to
of constitution without anybody saying anything. It will never happen.
You wrote to the Minister of Territorial Administration, Atanganji Paul, who is also very much criticized for what the opposition consider as threats. In his recent statements, he said a lot of things described by opposition politicians as a threat and intimidation. And you are sending these complaints about the administrative order of the senior divisional officer of the Fundi division to the same minister. What do you expect?
Yeah, when I'm writing to him, number one, the president should remove this SDO. That is number one. Unless this man is acting under their authority, he should remove him. You cannot threaten the people of Cameroon who are the owner of the power, and you remain there looking at them unless you are receiving that order from your boss. I told the minister, His Excellency, they like to be called like that. I told the minister that, Mr. Minister, I follow your press conference. You were threatening opponents openly, telling opponents to go and buy rope to hang. Is that a democracy? Is that how they respect each other in democracy? We are citizens of the same country, equal in all sides before the law and duty. Why will you not be able to talk to your compatriot with respect? How can you expect to be respected if you yourself, who's supposed to be the example of respect, are not respecting your people? So I'm taking to the minister with due respect, asking him to revoke it immediately, this SDO, because It's a danger for our unity. It's a danger of our nation, because even if it's not pointing the finger directly, but you can read between the lines, saying that it's targeting a specific tribe, recognized to be very opposed to the regime, to come to Yaoundé. This is a danger. It's a systemic danger that is preparing, because these people that is targeting will never leave Cameroon. They are Cameroonian, just like any other Cameroonian. So I'm talking to the minister because I can see danger coming. I can see danger coming that many countries experienced before. So if you start implementing law to exclude some part of Cameroonian from politics, then you are telling them to organize exactly what you are afraid of. They will create revolution because it's their country. They will create insurrection because they are not happy with the governance, and they are the owner of the power. So, number one, we should respect the Constitution of the Republic of Cameroon. Number two, we should respect the rule of law. Number three, we should respect democracy rules. And SDU is not a judge. Acting like it's acting is overdoing. Is doing the job of magistrate. It's telling us that the magistrature of our country is under the executive, which is not something good. So I'm talking to him, and I hope he will get it well. This guy cannot be an SDU in the capital city. He can give him another job, because what he did, unless he confessed error and begged pardon to Cameroonian, what he did is not acceptable, and it is not pardonable.
All right. It should, however, be clear that the senior division officer of the Fundi division did not mention any tribe, any region in his administrative order. He simply said anyone who orchestrates rebellion against state institutions and officials will be expelled from the Fundi division residence, including those who are coming to Yaoundé for one thing or the other, those on temporary stay in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. Now, Professor, the Minister of Communication and Government spokesperson Rene Emmanuel Sadi equally sent out a press release in which he said that it is unacceptable for anyone, including political and opinion leaders, to use unrespectful and insultive and offensive remarks against state institutions and officials. And in that press release, he called for restraint and a sense of responsibility in the exercise of the legitimate right to freedom in a bid to avoid excesses, outrage, and violation of fundamental social values and basic standards of democracy. What is your take on the way in which the Minister of Communication addresses the same issue?
I respect Minister Sadi Rene very well among many ministers in Cameroon. He's one of the ministers that I respect personally. And he's doing his job. So I respect his job. But I want to tell Mr. Minister, His Excellency, Minister of Communication, that he's a learned, he's a very well-educated person. What he wrote is just very funny. It's just very funny because all the time I'm hearing story like, President Paul Biya brought democracy in Cameroon. We should make a good use of democracy and liberty laws. That is very funny. And he knows that is very funny. That's why I said he's a very educated person. Democracy is not a gift. It's not a Christmas gift of the president to people of Cameroon. And Cameroon is not an island in Africa where we have democracy, and everywhere in the other countries of Africa there is no democracy. He cannot say sort of things because all countries in Africa practice democracy. So there is nothing like a president give democracy to Cameroonian. They must make a good use, like it's something they can take it back. No, democracy and freedom are always things that people of the country are fighting for. South Africa fought for democracy, for liberty. Cameroon itself, our country, in 1955, 57, 59, till 1966, carry guns against colonialists to be free, to free their country. So there is nothing like a gift of democracy. If they don't want to do democracy, to practice democracy, Cameroonians will force them to do it. Because freedom is in the nature of human being. What we don't want is chaos. What we don't want is anarchy. But what is creating chaos is anarchy. It's abuse of law. It's oppressive law. It's embezzlement, putting people in the poverty that Cameroonians are going through. It's lack of governance that create jobless among youth, abandoned women on prostitutions. Those are kind of disease, social disease, that create what they are fearing, revolutions, insurrections. So if you don't want all those kind of words to be used in your country, don't give people good governance, give them food, give them water, clean water, give them electricity. Are they giving all that to you people? So why do they want to shut down people that are telling them that they are stealing money of Cameroon? Why do they want to shut down the voice that are telling them that people, young men, are jobless by millions in the country? Why do they want to shut down the voice that are telling them that we don't know where we are going? Why do they want to shut down the voice that are telling them that there is no terrorism more bigger than the terrorists who are killing journalists? Why do they want anybody to tell them that? Why do you want to get an old man of 92 years old after 43 years in power? Why do you not want him to rest, to go and rest in his village? Why do you want somebody to rule country for 50 years? Why do you want somebody, a human being, 100 years to be ruling a country? Where do they see that? So all these things, when you are saying it, they say you are calling for revolution, you are calling for this, you are calling for that. We are not calling for any revolution. We are calling for democracy. We are calling for the rule of law. We are calling for respect of constitution. We are calling for good governance. We are calling for people, ministers and others who are committing embezzlement on public funds to be accountable of their crime in front of law, of justice. That is what we are calling for. If they are not doing all that, and they are trying to shut down our voice, then the democracy will leave the National Assembly and go to the street. If they want to exclude competition, normal competition to access the power, then democracy will go on the street. If they don't want to be accountable of what they are doing with the money of Cameroonian, then democracy will go on the street. That is what we are saying. And if anybody who is trying to say you should not do that, are telling you that it's a Democrat, is a liar. And if it is a liar, then we will tell him that you are a liar. And it is not a crime to tell a liar that you are a liar. It is not a crime to tell somebody who is stealing common money of all Cameroonians that you are stealing our money, and there is a proof. Because what we are saying, we are not the only ones saying it. Even the President of the Republic said it. Why did he create the special tribunal of crime? If there is no crime, why are we creating it? The Supreme Court said he named down all people who embezzled the money of Cameroon. Are they in jail? Are they facing any trial? So all this thing is calling democracy on the street. When democracy is not respecting law, is not respecting constitution, is not respecting good governance, he will go to the street.
All right,
That
Professor.
is what I can tell you. So
Okay.
the minister knows all these things. And if he doesn't want this thing to happen, then the best thing to say is that we will go to democracy peacefully. We will respect Constitution of Cameroon. We will respect your money. We will use your money for your development. We will use your money to remove you from the poverty. We will use your money to give you a job. We will use your money to give you good treatment. We will use your money to give your kids free meals, free lunch in all schools in Cameroon. But if you are not saying all this and you are threatening people with decision, fake decision, and thinking that we are in 1960, then you have some problem. You have not learned that between 1960 and now, many generations have grown up and many of them are learned. They will not accept it.
Okay,
So there
Prof,
is some
let's go to the newsstands now and take a look at what the newspapers reported this week, and we will be right back in some few minutes after the press review. We begin the press review in this edition of The Inside with the Guardian Post newspaper. As the 2025 presidential election gathers momentum, panicky regime issues a riot act to gag opposition. Talking about the administrative order of the senior division officer of the Fundi division threatening to banish individuals calling for protest inciting to revolt from the Fundi division. The Voice newspaper backlash over Fundi senior divisional officers draconian circular. Barrister Kerimuna condemns it as a violation of human rights enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic and national and international legal instruments signed and ratified by Cameroon. Cameroon Tribune newspaper, the prefect explains in an interview granted to the National Daily. He tells the readers of Cameroon Tribune that the freedoms have a limit, and that freedom is not synonymous to disorder or anarchy, adding that it is the duty of the senior division officers to ensure public order in their various jurisdictions. Another issue of Cameroon Tribune, the Minister of Communication, René Manuel Sading, says enough is enough. We have reached the unacceptable level of insult in the media. This is contained in the recent release of the Minister of Communication, in which he says that it is unacceptable for anyone, including political and opinion leaders, to use unrespectful and offensive remarks against state institutions and officials. The Municipal Update newspaper, arrest of Chief Dipoko of Misaka in Tiko subdivision, victimization or sabotage. The traditional ruler was arrested and detained in connection to a land dispute. The Voice newspaper, government complacent or unconcerned about the Glencoe corruption scandal. This is what Akerimuna is saying. And the Guardian Post newspaper says African Union raises Akerimuna to Pan-African honor roll. He said he dedicates that award to the resilient people of Cameroon. On another edition of the Guardian Post newspaper, 3,413 road accidents, killed 256, injured 254. And that happened in the 6 months, as reported by the Guardian Post. Now, the Horizon newspaper, in one of the latest accidents, 2 persons died at Great Support Market in Boya. This is reported in the Horizon. Thank you for staying with us. Professor Chief Pierre Milla ASSOUTE is still with us. He's a Cameroonian politician and he is the president of the Democratic Movement for a Modern Cameroon political party. Professor, so at this point, concerning the release of the senior division officer of the Fundi division, what do you suggest should be done about that? I know earlier you mentioned that you told the minister to sack him or to dismiss him or give him another job, as you put it. Is that the right solution to such a statement? Because when words go out, it becomes difficult to withdraw them, and the consequences may follow suit.
Hello?
Yes, Professor, if you're getting me, the question is, what should be done about this issue of violation of human rights and democratic principles, not only by the senior division officer of the Fundi division, but by all the administrative authorities who are accused of abuse of power?
Yes, I think Cameroon needs a peaceful democracy. We respect constitution and respect rule of law and respect the rule of democracy. The abuse of law in Cameroon became like a generic product in the market. You can hear many voices, traditional chiefs complaining because sometimes they came yesterday, they organize consultation of notabilities, then tomorrow they come again, they change by using abuse of law. And this is something that can only lead to problem. When you are jailing people for 3 years before getting to judgment, they are in prison for 3 years. It's abuse of human rights. When they are killing people in some of our region, and you keep saying that there is no problem in the country, that is abuse of human rights. So I think what should be done is to conduct a peaceful rule of governance in our country by respecting international laws, by respecting national laws, by respecting each other as a Cameroonian, and to give to Cameroonians, wherever they are, the services that elected you for. Because people of Cameroon are giving job to some of their fellow Cameroonians in the position of member of parliament, president, member of senate, president of the republic, mayor, to serve them, not to abuse them, not to use them. So if you don't give them the minimum service of the duty that you accepted to execute and you are paid for, then you will face problem. So to avoid conflict with people that are giving them job, the best thing to do is to do exactly what they are elected for, what they are given position for. So if they are doing more than what they're supposed to be doing, like this SDO of Mfundi, to threaten people, to abuse people, then it will always be problem between the owner of the power and them. So I think Cameroon needs, personally, I will quote somebody that many of us knows very well. You cannot be repeating, this is Einstein who said it. You cannot be repeating the same experience all the time and hoping for different results. You cannot be repeating failure experience all the time and hoping for better results or different results. So I think this government have done all that they can do. They have given all they have for Cameroonian. There is nothing new that Cameroonian can expect from the government. So one of the things to do, if they are honest with themselves, is to organize free and fair election in a due time for Cameroonian to decide if they still want them or not. That is the best thing to do, because expecting that we can sit on television, your television, and telling them what they will do, how they can change, it's like just telling somebody who have been doing the same thing for many years that, you know, you can change. He will not change because what he have been doing is what keep him there. So what will he change to do what is keeping him there all these 40 years? It will never change. So I think the first thing that Cameroonians should start thinking about is their future. Where are we going from now? What is next after all this mess? How are we cleaning up all this mess together to look for a new Cameroon? Me, I think that in my own perspective, I have what I'm calling Operation 237, which is Operation 237 is a new Cameroon. How are we building that new Cameroon where kids will get food, where all Cameroonians be eating three meals per day, where all students that study well, have good education, will not be jobless, where women and kids will be protected, having the same right like others in their nation. That is what I'm calling Operation 237. Are this government of 43 years able to implement anything for New Cameroon? I doubt. Are they able to bring rights that they have not given to Cameroon all these years? I doubt. So when I'm saying this, I'm not abusing anybody, but I will not shut down a voice telling them that they are doing it wrong. They are not doing what they are elected to do. All Cameroonian knows that in this last 40 years, more than 12,000 billion have disappeared in Cameroon. I'm not the one saying numbers. These numbers are in the public environment. Everybody can consult it online. So when people are doing all this and they don't stop doing it, what are they expecting from Cameroonians? To shut down their mouth and applaud? Yeah, sir, you are doing well. Okay, let's say President Milla have another 7 years term. Let us even say that. What next after that? When he stay in power 50 years and is 100 years old, what next? We'll go to God in the heaven and create somebody there to bring to rule Cameroon for the next 7 terms? So it is now. Cameroonians that should not focus even of what these people have been doing all these 40 years. They should focus now to register massively. Go and register massively. Prepare yourself in 2025 for change, because there is nothing that anybody humanly will do in 7 years that year we were not able to do in 43 years. It's not because somebody will stay in power for 50 years that he will do what he was not able to do in 43 years. And saying this is not insulting anybody, it's a fact, because all Cameroonians are not happy. The level of hunger in this country now, if anything start now, is more dangerous than any terrorism that the Mr. S.J. Fundi is trying to protect, is talking about. Okay. So I think
Prof, let's take some...
The way forward, my friend, is to prepare ourselves for a new Cameroon, and it is possible.
All right, let's take some interviews right now, and we'll come back to conclude in some few minutes. Interviews of the week.
Every single citizen of Cameroon has the right to freedom of expression, and this includes their political opinion or religious views. The CCLGA is fighting for a federal system of government. In this system, there is no place for unelected senior divisional officers or unelected DOs or unelected governors. Mayors and councils play an important civil administrative role. If someone breaks the law, this is handled by the police. What we are seeing in Yaoundé is the colonial remnant or the colonial remains of a French police state, where the senior divisional officer is the police, the senior divisional officer is the administrator, and the defender of the ruling party. They cannot play an objective role in political matters because they're already taking sides. When they block public meetings of opposition parties, they simply do what the ruling party wants or expects or asks them to do. This is pure political campaign for the CPDM, that is the ruling party. And what I'm saying here is that this is unacceptable and it is illegal. State officials like Mr. Njidem, who is the senior divisional officer from Fundi, should be very ashamed of themselves for actually causing a lot of stress for Cameroonians.
What he seems to be doing is some precautionary measures, some sort of dissuasive measure, whereby he's warning certain persons who have evil intentions against the nation, against the state, to be very careful and want to tell that they are aware of what is going on and the state is preparing for them. That SDO, for reasons of public order, can issue certain decisions that may affect the population. So when it comes to the legality of it, we can't challenge the SDO. He has a right to do what he's done. If that idea, what the order has, it negatively influences your right as a citizen, go to the administrative court to challenge what is written.
The Coalition of Cameroon Federalist Groups and Activists, CCFGA, strongly condemns the recent extension of the mandate of municipal councillors and members of parliament by the present government of President Paul Biya. The scheduled elections were more than 6 months separated from the next election. Thus, there was no competing political event or serious crisis, as they claim, that warranted the postponement of these elections. Unfortunately, the civil society landscape and the opposition political parties were not prepared to oppose this bill that was guaranteed to be adopted by the National Assembly under CPDM domination. Cameroonians must do better in future. Irregular election calendar affects the economy and political stability. We note recent statements by the Minister of Territorial Administration with respect to the presidential candidacy of some opposition politicians suggest that the postponement of these elections is politically motivated. This government is narrowly focused on its partisan and selfish calculations. They don't care about the common interest of Cameroonians. The CCFGA calls on the attention of all Cameroonians to the protracted conflict in the former Southern Cameroons. We all know the solution is federalism. The upcoming presidential election must offer a horizon to federalism. The elections must be free, must be transparent, and it must be competitive. Federalist political parties must maximize voter registration and collaborate for a federalist victory. We warn strongly the government of Cameroon and the ruling CPDM party against electoral fraud. We will defend the right of Cameroonians to choose from a field of competitive presidential candidates and defend the rightful winner of the election. We are committed to political change through the ballot box and, of course, street protest if needed to ensure that strong candidates are not unfairly sidelined and that the rightful winner becomes president.
You're welcome back. Those were interviews of the week. Professor Pierre Milla ASSOUTE, you abandoned the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement (CPDM) political party, and in one of your statements you said that the party has become a tool for illegal maneuvers, illegal manipulations like human rights violations, corruption, embezzlement, and many other issues. Can you tell us more about this?
Can you come again? I lost you.
All right, Professor Milla ASSOUTE, I said that you were a militant of the CPDM and you abandoned the party, and in one of your statements you said that the CPDM had become a tool for some kind of illegal maneuvers that
Yes.
promote human rights violation, corruption, embezzlement, and other issues. And that is why you left the party. And now, today, is it still the same thing?
Yeah, I maintain what I said before. I was hoping that maybe after 20 years, they can change. But you can see by the way people are acting in that party, that even after all that we said, they train themselves to specialize better than before in that manner. And the level of embezzlement is more even than before. But we understand that very well, like the reaction of people who know that the end of their reign is coming. Because in all cases, the end of reign is coming. So there is nothing that we can expect from their behavior. But I know within that party, because I am in contact with some of them, I cannot say everybody is rotten in CPDM. We have people in CPDM that are there like in prison. They don't know how to come up out of this because it's like a magician party. When you get in, coming out is not easy. Getting out of there is not easy. You will face prison. You will face a lot of things. So many of them are like forced to be there. So we are just trying to see what is the way forward after all this bad governance, after all these crimes, because we know many crimes. The latest one is what one of your colleagues is not coming from outside of CPDM. I'm not saying that this member of CPDM who killed, but people that are in court now about that, most of them are from CPDM. So all crimes that we know, the one that is elucidated and the one that are not, how are we go about that? It's just to think how to come out of this system. I'm not thinking about going back to CPDM or whatever. It's not in my perspective. But I know that with all Cameroonians with good faith, including the one in the CPDM with good faith, we can build an Operation 237 for New Cameroon. So that is what I'm calling for.
All right, Prof. So what is your
my compatriot for?
So, Prof, what is your vision on how to achieve this with your new political party, the Democratic Movement for a Modern Cameroon?
To achieve peace is very easy. Number one, you cannot achieve peace with people who create war. And that is why I quoted Einstein earlier. You can't find solution of a problem from the source of what created that problem. It's not me saying it. It's Einstein that all educated person knows very well. You cannot be looking solution of problem from the person who created the problem. The problem, the person who is the problem, and you say you will get solution from him. It's just nonsense. It's not possible. So what Cameroonian should be thinking about now, all of them, from Anglophone area, from Francophone area, going through the same problem, the same poverty, the same jobless, the same suffer, we must put end to that suffering of our people. By doing what? By going to new Cameroon with a new perspective, with a new program of life, agree on new conduct of our affairs, national affairs, together, sit together, maybe going to referendum for Anglophone, for example, to ask them, what do you want? How do you want to be ruled? Ask Francophone, what do you want? What is our new constitution should be to live together in peace and develop our country together, put our hand together like a brothers, like a sister, to build a new country, give our kids bright future, take our country to another level. All this is possible. And that is where I stand. And I'm calling my fellow Cameroonian to look in that direction, because losing our energy talking to these guys that have been ruling this country for 43 years, that have been stealing money of Cameroon for 43 years, and they are not taking them to court. They are even nagging us every day by threatening Cameroonians. It's a waste of time. It's playing their game. So we have to organize ourselves now. Start thinking, where are we going? What are we going to do now to come out of that? And this is to be together, to put an end to this regime. Is to think together first, how are we removing this regime? Then we sit together and look for the new direction. Cameroon needs new direction. Cameroon needs new leadership that will build this country as Cameroonians want it to be built. And
okay, Prof, do you believe that can be done through the ballot box?
Yes, I believe that if Cameroonians are listening to me and want this change, number one is to go and register. Number two, to go and vote. I know that what I'm telling you is not an easy task, because I was a member of CPDM before this last 20 years, before I resigned from Central Committee. I know that there is a lot of maneuver, a lot of manipulation of voting lists, a lot of manipulation of voting cards, a lot of exclusion. I know that this will still going on. I know that they are not giving a proper number of people of Cameroon. They keep saying we are 27 million, 30 million. Nobody knows exactly how many are we. But it is a fact that in the diaspora, for example, there is 5 million Cameroonians. It's not me saying, it's their number, the official numbers published by Minister of Foreign Affairs. So how do you believe that if there is 5 million Cameroonians abroad, only 20,000 will go to voting polls, will have a voting card? So it's a challenging, I know. But there is nothing more powerful than people of Cameroon, because they are owner of their power. Nobody can threaten them to go to vote. Nobody will threaten them to win their vote, to take their country to the direction that they think is the best for them now. But if they want to remain in a slavery for next 50 years, I think we need to take this country to another level. Start thinking now, after 100 years of independence, where are we going, at which level are we going to take our country? I mean, we need a strategy to be built now. Which kind of economy should we build from now? Free economy should we build from now? Who protect Cameroonian to take this country in next 40 years to make 100 years after independence to put it at the level that it should be for our children, for our new generations. People who went to school, like I think we did, have to sit now, start thinking, where are we taking this country? Are we going to be talking about President Paul Biya that his past, his life is behind him all the time? I think it's nonsense doing that. Even insulting him, that people saying they're insulting him, it doesn't make any sense. Because we are playing their game by insulting the president. What we should be doing now is to start thinking, where are we taking this country from this level of mud, of dust, to the level of bright?
Okay, Prof.
The idea we have it.
We have exhausted our time, Professor. Thank you so much for your time. Professor Chief Pierre Milla ASSOUTE, former member of the Central Committee of the ruling Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, CPDM political party, former parliamentarian and one-time youngest parliamentarian in Cameroon, and now president of the Democratic Movement for a Modern Cameroon. Thank you so much for your time, Prof.
Thank you so much, giving me opportunity to talk to Cameroonian. Thank you so much, defending democracy, giving me chance to speak on your media to defend democracy. And I hope I will find all my compatriots, with God's grace, by end of November, to start spreading out more and more my vision of the world, my perception of democracy, my conviction for Cameroon. Thank you so much. I am encouraging all the youth of Cameroon to be strong, because we are fighting for them. We have hope for them. We have project for them, for women, and they are the next leader of this country after this regime. Not like they keep telling them, you are the iron of this country in the future. It's now. Youth must take over now and carry on the life now. Every generation have to play its own partition. Their own partition is now. Thank you so much.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for today's edition of the program. You can follow us on social media handle on Facebook and YouTube, and you can also follow the rebroadcast of the program on Friday at 5 p.m. That's it for today. Goodbye.